since 2019. Smaller group, which we kind of expected on the one hand, because when you're dealing with meetings still, some people are still a little bit shy, but that's okay. We'll make the best of what we have. We had a lot more people sign up, and just a bunch of them suddenly came down sick. Our first presenter came down sick, so he's not here today. So apparently things are still kind of going out there, but welcome back. I hope everyone is doing really well. It's been a challenging few years that we've been through, but we're still kicking. We're still all doing the best that you can, and hopefully the worst of the stress is behind you. With that, I want to talk to you about, before we get to any of our guest speakers, about some of the things that I've been up to over the past little while. And clearly, most recently, I went down to a meeting in Scottsdale, Arizona, which was called the Open Dental Forum. And what that is it's basically vendors, a group of vendors that invite through a company in the UK called Open Table, or not Open Table, Open Room, sorry. Open Table is the restaurant app, I think, isn't it? So yeah, they did feed us. They did feed us. It was good for that, but it wasn't Open Table. So it was a UK company that runs these events internationally, including a couple times in the States, where they invite all the larger organizations in Canada and the US to come down and essentially get educated on certain aspects about where group dentistry is going, and also to be educated on by some of the vendors in terms of what's coming out from their perspective as well. So while most of the representatives that were down there were actually representatives from some of the more larger corporate DSO type organizations, they also invited buying groups, or what they refer to us in the States as group purchasing organizations, because they want to have a nice, easy acronym that rhymes with DSO. So we are apparently part of a GPO, according to them. And lots of interesting stuff. It was really fascinating to see. Obviously, we know that when it comes to the DSO world, the US is a good 5 to 10 years ahead of where we are up here in Canada. But obviously, we still are definitely watching as some of our groups are changing their climate. I think everyone knows about the merger that took place between Ultima and 123, and about the fact that that's also being backed by private equity, one of the firms that provides the private equity for Heartland Dental out of the States. So that means 123 and Heartland now have an affiliation. Both of them were there at this meeting in Scottsdale, and both of them were spending a lot of time talking about some of their things. And some of the presentations that were going on were quite interesting, because in the US, there's actually this big move now away from buying up private practices. They are building their own new facilities for the most part down there. If they see a real diamond practice that they want, yes, sure, they'll still go in and buy it. But from the standpoint of where they're looking at and where they're seeing their greatest return now, it's in new construction, new builds. So they're buying up a lot less, and in fact are very aggressively going into markets, and they don't care. There could be 5 dentists located within just a couple of 100 meters of that particular location. That's fine with them. They will try to attract 1 or 2 of those dentists to join in with them and see if they will fold their practice into the enterprise that they're going to create. But if not, then they'll simply go in aggressively, and they are actually very openly saying down in the States, in some cases, they will market so hard and price so aggressively that those dentists that stayed private and didn't come with them will regret that choice. That's actually what they're doing. So it really puts into perspective why group purchasing organizations to protect independent dentists become that much more important. And I know it's a very competitive landscape out there, and I know we keep hearing all kinds of different bits of information about how this provider is going to match or beat your prices, and this provider will match or beat your prices. And everyone can do that in the short term. I've seen it over and over again happening in the short term, and then I've seen it 6 months later, 12 months later. Those prices are not where they were before, and they're always going to be higher than ours. I've not gone into a practice that was not part of a group organization, that we didn't work with, regardless of who they were being supplied with, and we've always beaten their prices. So that tells me, yeah, everyone will say what they can to try to keep and earn and get the business that they can. It's can they keep delivering over the long term? Because this is sort of the landscape that we're looking at. And it's not even just some of what the group purchasing organizations are doing, or the DSOs, sorry, are doing on that front to aggressively go after dentists. They're increasingly targeting dental schools. And I mean, I've seen that myself. I mean, I've walked into going to the ODA meeting or any of those meetings, and I've gone up to the dental schools that are there saying, look, I'm not here to charge you anything. I just want to offer some help to any of the young students that might be looking for associates, so that I can have a pool of associates that if any of you reach out to me and say, Shawn, you got an associate for us, I've got a name that I can send you. And the school is all, okay, yeah, you know, I mean, if you've got a card, we'll put it up on a bulletin board. It's like, these kids aren't looking at bulletin boards. What 20-year-old kid is looking at a bulletin? Do they even know what a bulletin board is? You know, that's as much as they're prepared to do. Unless I want to put $5, $10, however many $1,000 towards sponsoring the school on some of it. Then I can maybe get down there. Maybe you guys, if you want an associate that bad, you can also spend your $5,000 to $10,000 to go and do an associate recruitment. But that's where the things are with the dental schools here in Canada. In the States, the DSOs are actually really canvassing hard to tie in some of the educational components, to have some of the students do placements where they will build their state-of-the-art facilities close to a dental school, so that these students, when they come out, have access working on some of the more modern technologies that the schools simply aren't allowing them access to, because the schools won't pay that money for it. So it's really quite the landscape. And how we work together and stick together, and I'm open to any suggestions, people, in terms of what it is you think would work from your perspective. What do you think you could look at and say, as a group purchasing organization, this is great what you do, but we still need a bit more. What more can we do to be able to support each other, share resources? Would it even help? I know we're still dealing with team shortages across the board, which, you know, at least, to be perfectly honest, at least until we go through the recession that they're anticipating we're going to be having, if we're not already in it, we're probably going to continue. Once we hit that recession and then the jobs dry up, maybe things will change a little bit. But until then, is there a way to say, hey, you know, like I could just use some coverage for a day or two. Do you have anyone? And maybe we had a way where we could share, where we've got a team member that's not working that day and is interested in picking up a shift, and they can help you.
Shawn, if we could have everybody join the office managers
Facebook group.
And we can use that for what you're talking about.
Yep, that's certainly one way to do it. We have a really unfortunate situation with one of the dentists in our group, one who had signed up to be here tonight, but unfortunately couldn't make it. Little 7-year-old guy with leukemia. And so he's really struggling, and he's looking for any help that he can get in terms of, you know, we were looking to see could we get him a locum. He's looking obviously for some help with an associate. I don't even know if anyone has any time where they'd be able to say, you know, either myself or I know of another dentist that could help and pitch in so that you've got a little bit of a break. God, I hope none of you have to go through what this guy's going through right now. But if we do, and we've got a way to support each other and have each other's backs on that front, I just look at it and think, what can we do to take things to another level?
And he's going to be in Toronto for 8 weeks at the cancer clinic. There's where he's really going to need help. If any of you know of anybody or can help yourselves.
Okay.
You might know somebody? Okay.
That'd be super helpful, because...
So get in touch with Shawn.
Because, you know, I mean, we always hope and pray, obviously, that these sort of tragedies don't come into our own lives, but life is unpredictable. I mean, gosh, even, I don't know, does anyone here, who uses Recall Max, if anybody? Okay, I was just made aware of this the other day. The contact that we work with, Rita Baumgartner, she went through, I can't remember specifically what type of cancer, a young woman in her 30s. She was stage 4, whatever type of cancer. Right now in remission, hoping to be back to work on a full-time basis in the near future, but you know, life gets tough on some cases, and anything that we can do to help each other out on a higher level than what we've done in the past, we're happy to coordinate, quarterback that, and I'm open to your suggestions as well, and ideas of things that you look at and say, boy, I really have a need for this, Shawn, do you think you could help us address that? And it might not be something that we can do right away, but it's something that, hey, if I know that it's a pain point for you, what can we build so that even if it's 4 months, 6 months, 12 months down the road, I can look at it and say, you know what, we've got you covered now. We've got a way to deal with this. So it doesn't have to be your most immediate need, but if you're thinking, you know, this is something that pops up every once in a while, what do you think we can do? Hey, let's sit down and have a meeting and have some ideas. I'll come out to your office at one of your lunch hours and we'll brainstorm. You know, let's look at ways that we can do that so that as a group we can continue to add more value and make sure that we are in the best position to preserve your independence. Because I don't care what anyone says, when you do the math, you will make more money over your lifetime owning your own practice than you will as an associate in a group organization. It's just sit down and do the math. It's a function of how do we make sure that we can all keep that part of your practice and your financial retirement planning, your estate planning, if you will, that much more intact for yourself and for your families, but still provide some added benefits that come from being part of a group. So I'm looking for ways to make it more active and talking to some people. So I'm hoping to have some ideas that will start coming out in the new year. Can't share any of them just yet. They're seeds germinating. But I'm also open to anything that you guys have on that front.
And could you mention about the equipment purchase? We have somebody who wants to buy 4.
Was it, I can't remember now, was it chairs?
Yeah.
Yes. This is one of the other ones, and actually a service that I'm scheduled to have a chat with out of one of the companies that I spoke with at the open forum in Scottsdale. And it's about coordinating equipment purchases, because we've talked about it in the past, and the challenge is always getting people together in a way where they can communicate that, you know what, I need this, and somebody else says, yeah, I need that too. And a couple of times we've successfully managed to get large enough groups together where we've made a purchase and saved substantial amounts of money on equipment. A lot of other times when we try to do it, sort of manually, if you will, with just sort of phone calls and emails and stuff like that, it's like, no, I don't need that now. But next thing you know, 6 months later, they're calling me saying, oh, you know, is that still going on for the chairs? Is that still going on for scanners? Is that still going on for whatever? And it's like, couldn't really get it organized. So we're always looking at that, and it's going to be interesting to see what this service is and what they're going to charge, because that always remains something to see if it's going to be of value. But I will share that with you once I've had a further discussion with them. The open room concept, it was speed dating. Okay, I sat down at a table, all these vendors came to me, they had 15 minutes to pitch me. So you can imagine over a day and a half period getting about 20 pitches of 15 minutes each. You only get so much information. So I've since then been scheduling follow-ups with the ones that I'm most interested in, that have sort of the coolest stuff. Who does clear aligners or anything like that in their practice? Has anyone heard of dental monitoring? So it's another one that I'm going to be having some conversations with. It's really cool. Take your smartphone, send the patients home with this app and a device that they will put into their mouths, and they download the app. It gives them instructions where they can, on a weekly basis, do the scan, so they don't have to come back into your chair as often. And so long as there's no problems, this will monitor. You can just sort of log in and on the app and see, are things progressing? Oh, great, you're ready for the next tray. Move to your next tray now. Less chair time. It looks really cool.
Do they still need you, or is it the same thing as that?
It's not the dental smile club or whatever, direct smile club or whatever, smile club direct.
Still need you to push the button to start it?
Nope, No, it's not suggesting that they don't come into the office at all, but it is, if you will, it is sort of a way, I would say it's an answer. It's a dentist answer, potentially, to Smile Direct Call. So, you know, different ideas like that. So I'll be sharing them as I learn more about them. So look forward to getting that kind of information. That was the reason that I went down to this event in Scottsdale, was to meet some of these new vendors, find out some of the cool things that were going on, and to be able to share that information with you, because, well, I don't know, some of it maybe you have seen, and some of it is sort of, hey, I'd be curious to know more. So, by all means, anything that you want to know when I send that information out, just give me a call, send me an email. We can arrange to get you more information for the things that you're most interested in.
And please, on equipment, there's a gentleman sitting over there who will be introduced later.
He just hid behind the post there.
Gone behind the post. This is our Henry Schein rep for the evening. Our manager, my fiance, and that's a whole other story. I'm cheating on you. Please keep in mind that when Shawn gets a call or an email from you when you're looking at buying equipment, Shawn goes to Kevin, and Kevin is the one then that has the opportunity to go back to the manufacturer and be able to, on behalf of you and the Peers group, put together a package where he can ask the manufacturer to provide better pricing. And Shine has been amazing doing that for us, so please be aware of that.
Thanks, Eddie.
Now our first presenter, along with some of the dentists that called in sick, our first presenter called in sick. He told me that he took an antigen test and it came back negative, but he still felt that perhaps it was in everyone's best interest that he not come. He was going to be the one talking about the insurance situation, because I think many of you probably saw in the news where Manulife was pulling out of the disability component of insurance. So he did send me some notes, which I will kind of pass along. I obviously cannot cover it in the same depth. Do not ask me any questions, because if it's not on here, I don't know the answer.
And you're recorded as well.
You know, I apologize that he couldn't be here. It's just sort of one of those things these days. But yes, Manulife did make the decision to pull what was their non-cancelable disability product from the shelf. Essentially, it just wasn't making money for them anymore. And it was one that they had a lot of dentists in, and they were very geared towards the dental market. And they've just been looking at things and finding maybe COVID exacerbated some of it, but even before that, they were looking at what was going on and just analyzing their risk profiles and realizing that the claims were going up. There was more and more people within the dental industry, whether it was stress-related anxieties or actual musculoskeletal issues going on from the profession, where more and more people were filing claims, and what they were collecting in premiums just literally was not covering what was happening to the payouts that they were providing. So they were dropping that product. As I understand it, according to them, as they said, they were very heavily overloaded in the dental side of things. The product itself is still available through Canada Life and RBC, and I guess they're a little bit more diversified. So they're still offering that particular insurance product. It does not, as some people did email or call and ask me, it does not affect the group program that we have through the buying group. That is still a separate, those are a group benefit plan, entirely separate. This is more of an individual dentist's insurance disability program. So those of you that are thinking, are we going to wind up losing our group benefits program? That is not the case. We are still doing well with that. And in fact, in the 5 years since we've made the change over from, gosh, I can't even remember the name of the company we were with before anymore. It's been that long. But they carried it through Great West Life, and we've made the switch over to Hub International. The worst we have seen is an increase in premiums of about 4 to 5%. And a large part of that has been on the long-term disability component, which for the most part, if you're set up properly, is paid for by the employees themselves anyway. So from your standpoint as the employer, you're seeing maybe about a 2% increase, as opposed to the annual dance that I would do when I would get the renewal proposal of about 20 to 25% increase in the premiums, and then have the folks at the brokerage office say, we got them down to 9, what a win. And now we're looking at it saying, yeah, it was a bit of a tough year, it's 4. So, you know, if you're not part of that, and I understand in some cases, a lot of times the team members don't necessarily want to be part of it. Maybe they've got a spouse that is well insured, works with the government, and it doesn't make financial sense for them to be part of another group program. But it's always worth investigating. You would be surprised how many people struggle, how many offices struggle to keep team members simply because team members decide, I need to get that government job and get those benefits for myself. Maybe they're no longer in the marriage with the spouse that has the coverage, or they're just, people these days are choosing to stay single much longer. So if you want to know more about our group benefits plan, Patrick would have been here to answer any questions with respect to that. I can certainly arrange for you and Patrick to have a conversation when he's healthy. All right.
So can I comment here as well?
Can I stop you?
No.
No, then go for it.
One of our member officers had significant claim, 5 times payout versus premium. Insurance company contacted Shawn and said, we can no longer afford to insure this office under your group. We went to our office, we told them, and the office people decided they would go out privately and look for private insurance. Nobody would cover them. So Shawn went back to the agent and said, here's the deal. We're going to move everybody, or you take our one office that had a really bad year. Two team members, very bad year. The claims went off the wall. So keep in mind too, that's a benefit of the group. We were able to go back and use the power of the membership to say, you don't take one, you don't get any, and they back down. So please be aware of that. So the insurance for people that you have on your team or that are looking for a package whose husband or spouse will work in the government, understand that the life insurance and the disability insurance is nothing covered under the spouse insurance package. That's only under employee package. And it is something that you can look into if you wanted to buy it for them, but only buy or organize it for them, because they pay it themselves. The premium is paid through their payroll, but the disability and the life insurance, they don't have. You might want to get it for them. You might want to look at it, because the phone call I got the night before last, I'm still recovering from it. I got a call from a doctor who said, Eileen, I'm desperate. I need a hygienist, and I'm willing to offer a $25,000 signing bonus. So things are tough out there. Look at the benefits that you have. Look at what you have with the Peers group. If you're not there, contact Shawn. Let's see what we can do for you. Okay, I'm shut up.
Okay, so one of the advantages, of course, of one of our speakers being sick tonight is we saved a lot of time. We were a little bit behind because of dinner arriving late. By all means, if you haven't gotten dinner, help yourselves. We don't want anyone going hungry. But I obviously gave a far shorter presentation on the insurance side of things than he would have, so now we catch up.